Chapter 1. A City of Ghosts. Rain hammered against Michael Shaw's windshield, turning the city streets into a shimmering maze of headlights and neon reflections. He guided his old sedan through puddles that splashed the curb, his knuckles whitening on the steering wheel. It wasn't just the storm making him tense. It was the unshakable feeling that the city itself was watching him tonight. Tall buildings loomed overhead, like silent sentinels. Between them, dirty alleys yawned open, strewn with trash bags and flickering streetlights that cast restless shadows on the wet pavement. The wipers thumped in a steady rhythm, and each squeak made Michael's nerves jangle. He breathed a little harder than usual, every sense on alert. His police badge, clipped to the interior pocket of his coat, seemed heavier than normal. Most nights he took a certain grim satisfaction in the role of detective, being the one people turned to for answers. But tonight, he felt only the creeping dread of another call that might drag him closer to the darkness he carried inside. As he neared the address, an abandoned building in one of the city's most forsaken neighborhoods, Michael spotted the flash of red and blue lights reflecting off rain-slick brick. Yellow tape swayed and snapped in the wind like it was trying to break free. The building's broken windows looked like crooked teeth, framing an empty grin in the gloom. He parked, stepped out, and pulled the collar of his coat high against the rain. Water dripped from the brim of his hat as he made his way under the tape. An officer, a young man who still had the uncertain look of a rookie, lifted it for him, his eyes filled with the apprehension that came before stepping into a nightmare. "Detective Shaw," the young officer said, voice trembling only slightly. "They're waiting for you inside." Michael nodded, not trusting himself to speak yet. His mind was already running through the usual checklist: secure the scene, examine the body, question the witnesses, if any. But something deeper prickled at him, an intuition he'd never managed to shake. Inside, the building smelled of mildew and rot, a stale dampness that clung to the walls. Muffled voices bounced off the cracked concrete floors as flashlights swerved, illuminating more signs of decay. In the center of the room, several officers circled a body sprawled in a grotesque position. Michael paused for a moment, steadying himself. The victim lay in a pool of half-dried blood, eyes vacant, mouth contorted in an eternal scream. Hand-drawn symbols adorned the walls, scrawled in what looked like more blood. They were arcane spirals and jagged shapes, suggesting a ritualistic element. His heart thumped harder. This wasn't a random killing. It was something carefully orchestrated. Crouching beside the body, Michael forced himself to remain detached, though he could feel a cold coil of dread settling in his stomach. Then the whisper came, soft, insistent, threading into his consciousness with chilling familiarity. "The storm is coming. He is the one who cannot be stopped." He tensed, shutting his eyes as the words pressed against the inside of his skull. This was his curse, hearing the final, unfinished thoughts of the dead. On good days, it gave him clues that saved lives. On bad days, it felt like it was unmaking him from the inside. "Michael?" a voice cut in. Detective Elliot Russo stood a few feet away, arms folded. He was stocky, with a perpetually skeptical look. Their partnership thrived on friction. Michael, with his uncanny instincts, and Elliot, the grounded rationalist. "You've been staring at that body a while," Elliot said, frown lines deepening. "You okay?" Michael stood, brushing grit from his knees. "Just taking it in." "Right." Elliot studied him for a beat, then turned to the blood-splattered walls. "This is different from our usual mess. Looks ritualistic. We have officers checking out the symbols, but it'll take time to decipher." Michael tore his gaze from the victim, swallowing back the lingering echo of the dead person's final words. He is the one who cannot be stopped. He wondered if it pointed to some unknown killer, or something worse. "This wasn't random," he said quietly. "Whoever did this wanted us to see it. It's just the start." Elliot raised an eyebrow. "You've got more than a hunch?" Michael hesitated. He couldn't exactly tell Elliot about the voice. "I can feel it," he said instead, voice tight. "This is big." Elliot exhaled sharply and flipped open his notepad. Then let's find some facts to back it up, Shaw. Nodding absently, Michael turned his gaze back to the body. Even though the victim's eyes no longer focused on anything in this world, Michael felt a near electric pulse in the atmosphere, like the building itself was charged with leftover fear. That sense of grim anticipation stayed with him as he stepped back out into the downpour. The city lights smeared across the windshield of his car in red and blue streaks. "The storm is coming," the voice had whispered. As he drove away, the tires spraying water across a city that seemed perpetually drowning in secrets, Michael couldn't stop hearing that low, persistent warning echo in his mind.